Tegra Izze, and Bully Weeks.
And open statement, Coach.
They're never easy. Real proud of our team for over the last month, way that they played, and they play hard. Didn't quite play well enough tonight to beat the number one seed, and we're right there. But we were just a little bit behind it, I thought, the whole game. And what I mean by that, a loose ball or communicating on defense or keeping a guy in front of us as far as defending off the dribble. And we were just a little bit behind it. We weren't as sharp as we needed to be able to beat a really good team, a really good, well coached team. And it hurts because we were so close to accomplishing our goal. And make no mistake about it, our guys didn't come down here. We would take insult that it was some kind of Cinderella story. Our guys felt like that they belonged in the spot in the semifinals, and they're hurting because they, anytime you're not able to accomplish your goal, and their goal was to win the league and get to the NCAA tournament. It's hurtful, and our guys are invested. And when you're invested in something and you've worked as hard as they've worked over the course of the year, it hurts. And but I'm proud of them, really am. I just can't say enough about them. They had so many opportunities during the course of the year to throw the towel in, so to speak, or become fractured, and they never did that. And just got, especially this last month, I think we may have won 9 of our last 11 or 8 of our last 11 in a really tough league. So real proud of them. Going to be one of my favorite teams as when my time's done, that they I'll look back with great memories of this team. And again, I love them all of them, like sons, and they'll be just have to see what happens here. I don't know. One of our coaches just started talking about NIT bids and stuff. I don't know about all that yet, but I think our team certainly. I'll say this: if I can go ahead and get a plug in, I think they're certainly deserving of something. If that's in the cards for us. But overall, like I said, it's very difficult at the end of the year to when you lose your last game, and 99.999% of teams lose their last game at some point. Only one team that comes up and doesn't have this feeling at the end, and it's always hurtful. Again, when you spend as much time I spend way more time with these guys than I do my own children and grandchildren and my wife. It's not. That's just the nature of the path that we chose, and you become tight. And you have good days and bad days, just like your regular family, and it makes it tough at the end. So anyway, I can't say enough great things about these young men and how proud I am, how proud that I am of them.
We'll open up now for questions. Start off with Paul.
Coach, Paul Chestnut.
Hey, Paul.
What are you going to you had a heck of a run here. What are you going to remember to take away from this team?
Well, just really Paul, I think you were here the first night. We kind of talked about who Southern Miss was, and I'm a Southern Miss guy. I'm a Southern Miss guy. I grew up at Southern Miss. My mom and dad worked at Southern Miss. I was fortunate to play 2 sports at Southern Miss. I mean, I'm a Southern Miss guy, and one thing that we're proud of at Southern Miss is grit and toughness. And I mentioned that our president talks about punching above our weight, and that's just been the history of athletic tradition at Southern Miss. And we're proud of kind of our blue collar mentality, and I think this team just really lived up to that image and ideal at Southern Miss by just the toughness. And we always weren't the prettiest team. We didn't have the flashiest guys. We're not the new trend analytic teams that shoot a lot of corner threes and layups and nothing in the mid range. In fact, we're actually the opposite. And and tonight, actually, to be honest with you, our inability to really make the three-point shot hurt us. We were 2 of 19 from the three and ended up losing the game by a couple of possessions. And also our inability maybe to get to the foul line as much as that we normally do. But just the ideal of kind of back to, I don't mean to get off of subject there, but to just the toughness and the pride that these young men have and their competitive spirit. I'm going to always remember that.
Let's go to Scott in the back.
Coach, really, what was Troy kind of doing, you think, that just kind of, maybe hurt the offense, kind of slow things down a little bit throughout the game?
Well, we scored enough to win. We beat them. We held them to 61. I think the problem was, and I told the players this throughout the game and of course at halftime, that we had. I'm not gonna make an excuse. I don't want this to come across the way the we've played too many games or that type. Fourth game, 4 nights, tough time. I'm not going to use that excuse. So whatever the reason was, we weren't just sharp enough. I didn't think defensively. I didn't think the problem was offensively enough as it was on the defensive end. I would have loved to seen Bully get the basketball more. They zoned and got it. We let them get away with it early on. We needed to be able to make a few perimeter shots. And I thought when we showed patience early, we hurt them. When we didn't show patience, we didn't. We couldn't keep them off the foul line. We out field goaled them 28 to 22. That generally means, usually you win those kind of games. But we just couldn't keep them off the foul line. And I'm not saying the officials did a bad job. I actually thought the game was pretty well officiated. One of the things, and they'll tell you, I told our players throughout the game and at halftime, we're making it easy on them to call fouls. We lacked discipline and fundamentals at times defensively. So I thought we scored enough to win, even though it wasn't quite our night. We scored 70 on a really good team, but giving up 78, it would be hard to beat the number one, seed doing that.
Let's go to Dima up here.
Coach, or actually Tyleek, I guess, only 5 points in the first half. What were they kind of doing to kind of stall you?
I just think I was just missing shots I normally make, and the way they play zone, it was kind of like a match in one zone, like denying me the ball, kind of making it tough. It just wasn't one of my best days. But
Did they start in man and then transition?
yeah, once they started in man, and then I think we would just get into the cup too easily and kicking it out. So now a lot of teams are starting to go way more zone because they.
Yeah. We've almost seen zone the last month, really, almost every game, and we needed to make a few outside shots tonight, and I thought we had some really good looks.
Really good looks.
Yeah, we did, and
just wasn't converting. We had a really good looks, especially Izzy Hart, knockdown shooter. Just wasn't making his shots, but it's all good. We all together still as a team.
Let's go over to Craig on the right here.
Hey, Coach Craig Stevenson, AL.com. At the same time, you did hold them without a field goal for over 10 minutes in the second half.
wow, dang, we just couldn't.
Playing time of 4 games, you
Yeah.
at least showed some resiliency, it seemed like.
Well, I first, Craig, I follow your stuff, by the way. You do a great job. If we did that, of course, that was without a field goal, but of course they were getting to the foul line as well, and they got into the bonus and the double bonus really early in the second half, and that's what I was trying to say. We have a teaching term that we say don't foul, but don't appear to foul, and I thought when we got down 12 or so, we kind of panicked a little bit on defense, and we started trying to pressure and over pressure and gamble too much on defense. And again, I like the competitive spirit of that, but and again, I'll take responsibility. It's my responsibility to instill discipline in your players and fundamentals. And I thought we kind of let the moment get to us a little bit. And that was a little bit disappointing. But our guys were playing hard. They were flying around. We gave up some key offensive rebounds. And again, our inability to kind of keep them off the foul line, I thought, and they were converting. 31 of 38. That's a lot of free throws. And again, trust me, I thought we had a great officiating crew. So I'm not saying that. I just thought that I can name a lot of individual situations where we would foul a guy, late in the clock, or when he's not in any kind of position to score, and we would reach or gamble on the ball. So
Second row on the right here.
Matthew Rory, WLOX. Hey guys, This is for all three of you guys, pretty open. The last 4 days, obviously, you guys get a win. You have to go back to the hotel. You have to reset, figure out a new opponent, and then keep doing that day in, day out. Can you bring me through what that experience was like for you guys, and then if anything built up to today that maybe hurt you guys in the long run there?
I don't think nothing really hurt us in the long run, but from the experience, each day, go over scout, before we go over scout, get up ready, go to shoot around and stuff like that. Playing 4 days, 5 games in 4 or 5 days is kind of hard. It's really kind of hard. We play a lot of teams, a lot of good teams, especially in the Sun Belt. Every team is fairly physical, very physical, so it's a lot of people banged up probably. But I wouldn't say that. I just think today we just didn't have our best night.
Let's go back to Scott in the back.
Coming here to Southern Miss, how do you think this coaching staff just really helped develop you, kind of showcase really what you can do forward?
They definitely developed me, and I appreciate Lerner and his wife. I love them like they were my own family. Coach Lerner was the first coach ever to give a shot to me. Right, he found me right in the backyard in Summit. When he came to my game, he said how much he liked me and stuff like that. First Division I offer I ever had, so I'm very grateful for Coach Lerner and the coaching staff, and I appreciate it. And I love Southern Miss.
What will you kind of take away from this season about the journey you guys went on and just how it ended too?
I'm definitely happy for the season. A lot of things didn't go our way, like losing Isaac Terraris early in the season. I think at one point we was 5-1. We was like one of the top seeds. We went like a 0-6 losing game stretch, but I feel like a lot of people counted us out. They had us 13, and we knocked the people off. We made it to the semifinals, so I think this is a great year, and I'm just looking forward to build on from it.
Coach as well. I mean, how does this tournament kind of help you maybe build things for next year as you guys go and obviously try to rebuild a little bit? How does it kind of create some momentum? You feel like?
Well, I mean, I would, when you win, again, I may be off. I wish Jack was in there. Jack, 8 out of the last 11, 9 out of the last 11, whatever. We finished strong, and to be honest with you, we've the two that went the other way. We just got some tough breaks that night. And we were right there in those. I mean, we could have easily finished on a 12, 13, 14 game streak, and so we were playing our best basketball during this time of year, which is hard to do. I've been fortunate to coach some teams that at the end of the year, we kind of got peaking at the right time, and this was one of those teams that did. We played our best basketball at the end, and that's why. The disappointment is our guys. We fell a game short, but the real disappointment is that the regular season, of course, has come to an end, and we may or may not see these guys on a daily basis anymore. It all depends on what happens if we're fortunate to give some kind of postseason bid or not, or we'll just see. But our goal was to win the to go to the NCAA tournament, win the league, right? And that hurts. But just not being able, and the possibility that it's coming to an end, and not. I'll look forward to going to practice every day. Not just for the basketball aspect, but just the relationship aspect, and seeing Bully and seeing Teg and their teammates and so forth, and the managers and our strength coaches. We just had a great family, and we had a great family atmosphere, and that's one of the reasons I think that we ended up being able. Families stick through tough times, and we had some tough times. We didn't make excuses. You didn't have people on our team going, well, if we'd have had Isaac, or, if he wouldn't have got hurt, or we'd have won a lot. We never did that. He just came out every day and grinded it out, and just kept moving forward, and then eventually he came back and it kind of got going again, and then we, it lifted our ceiling up a little bit, and but that's really, Scott, what I'm going to miss is just we care about our players at Southern Miss. I mean, we love on them, and it hurts. It hurts when, they may not be around anymore, and, it doesn't mean we won't stay in communication, talk to them, but it's like your family members leaving. I mean that because we spend an incredible amount of time with each other, over the course of a basketball season. We played an exhibition game on October the 21st. I don't think we've had a Saturday up until last Saturday because we played on Friday. I don't even think we've had a weekend off. I mean, And that's okay. But I mean, that's how much time we spend together, you know. And then our coaches, you know, we got a young coaching staff, and those cats work their tail off, and the amount of hours they put in. So we've been going since October. Ask Division I football coaches to do what Division I basketball coaches do as far as time, you know, in the season. Our season's long, right? I mean, it's long, and so how many weeks that is from third week of October till March the 8th or whatever it is today. That's been a long time, you know.
Far on the right.
What would your pitch be, Coach, to a committee or somebody for a tournament?
I would ask them to look at how we finished the year, you know, just like our record and what we did. Look how many teams that we beat during the course of the year. Of course, we played an incredibly tough schedule. You know, we played LSU, we played South Carolina, we played Ole Miss, we played Miami, we played at Radford. You know, a lot of those teams, of course, those are all, or I say all, I don't know if all of them be postseason play. Some of them ended up not having as good a years as we, but just playing those SEC type teams. We played at Buffalo, we played Kent State here. We beat a lot of 20-win teams, you know, and finished strong. And they always talk about it. They look at, you know, people's injuries, and then they look at how you finished out in the year. I certainly think that we at least should be considered for an NIT bid. I really do.
We're going to take two more. Let's go D-Man and then Scott in the back.
You kind of mentioned it there, Coach, at the end, but can you talk about your coaching staff a little bit more? Because when you hired them, you know, a lot of them maybe first time even getting out there to coach a Division I team, and I mean, I would say success.
I'll tell you this. It was, of course, I've been blessed to do this job. I am blessed. I'm blessed to be at university. I'm University of Southern Mississippi. I am blessed to be a basketball coach. I mean, I'm 60 years old, and I get an opportunity to be involved in a kid's game, you know. And I mean, I don't take that lightly at all. I mean, I am truly blessed in what I've been able to do, and to do it at a place that I love. I'm just blessed. Well, and so with that being said, we've got a young, I mean, when I say young, incredibly young coaches, but they are so excited. They would probably laugh because they would see it sometimes. They would just, in some, especially early in the season, in timeouts, they're all chirping at the players. I mean, he's talking. You know, they're so excited, and you know, and I would just finally have to say, y'all got to shut the, you know what up, you know, and it takes a lot for me to use language that it wouldn't be appropriate, you know, and of course I don't do it very often, but I would just say, y'all got to shut up, man. And but they would be so excited. But they grew as the year went on, and really talented young coaches. I mean, really talented, and really on top of a lot of things. So I've been blessed, and of course we have an older coach, Coach Wynn, and I say older. I use him, and I always say he and I are the two old guys in the deal. Win case, but really great group of young coaches, and they all have great futures in front of them.
Last question here, Scott.
Coach, you talk about how close this team is and how it has a special place, and you can clearly see that. With those relationships you've built, how do you kind of see maybe keeping some guys from next year? You know?
Well, that's always a big challenge in today's climate, and you know, it goes against you know my thoughts as far as a family having a basketball team that's first and foremost about developing young people, and it's hard to develop the NCAA and the legalities associated with that. I'm not here to discuss those type things. I mean, they're all well documented, but it's hard to be that type of coach in today's climate, right? So we have to love on them for 7, 8, 9 months, and then they have to think. Like Ted was talking about last night, about, you know what, I have an opportunity to go somewhere, and I got an opportunity maybe to go make a little more money in the short term, but I'm gonna stay here because I like the way that things are done here, and you know, that's all we can do at the end of the day is do the best that we can, and you know, but then on the other hand, can you really blame guys if they got a chance to make generational type income somewhere else? And if, you know, we hope not, but we're going to do the best that we can, I can promise you. And then hopefully they'll look at in terms of financial resources that we can possibly do But the other part, I hope they look at it and go, you know what, I can be. I like. They care about me here. They put me in the best position to be successful. I'm getting a great education. The town supports me, and I get a chance to leave a legacy somewhere. That's the big problem. You don't have any more legacies. Brett Favre. I was talking to Brett Favre the other day. You know, we don't. Is there going to be any more Brett Favres at Southern Miss? You know, because how many are they going to be able to stay that long? I mean, what would have happened to Favre after his second year at USM in football? You know, he'd have been off at Ole Miss making $5 million or something like that, and that's sad. You know, it's sad that that's going to be. So I hope we can sell that to some guys.